Hey Cameron, so going over your videos. First off, one thing that I will mention is when you practice with a partner, make your practice songs just 1:30 because that's more realistic to what you're going to get in a competition. 3 minutes, like you don't get that much of a song ever, right? And energetically that won't match what you need for a structurally sound dance in a prelim. Other thing is start wearing clothes that are like a similar cut to what you want to compete in, rather than dancing in shorts and socks or shorts and dance shoes, right? Dance in what you would realistically want to wear in a competition, or at least something that matches the cut, because that's kind of the aesthetic that you're going to want to envision versus more of an athleisure aesthetic. Cool. So here we go. So just to start, even here, your knees are a little bit internally rotated, so your knees are a little knocked, which does kind of give a little bit of a wonky aesthetic. I will say it is highlighted because you're wearing shorts, but it is something I've seen when you're in a pant too. So I'm going to give you an exercise with a resistance band to just build up kind of the outside of your glute a little bit, because that's where you control internal and external rotation from. Just having that lack of distance between your knees kind of gives the aesthetic like you have to pee a little bit. I thought that was really well done. That was smart. That should have been faster. All Alone was a quick action, and this was a really slow action in your body. I liked that you did it. I would have just taken it a little bit quicker in the body and maybe added a little roll of the head as you turn to look at your partner. Something I did notice is sometimes your free arm is looking a little bit pinched back. It looks like you getting more open through your chest. You're starting to pinch your shoulder blades together. I was noticing that a lot in one of your practice videos with Maddie as well. And that's just something I want to check into. Making sure you have more of that neutral spine with that external rotation versus your shoulder blades pulling together in the back of the body. It's going to pinch you kind of awkwardly through your top line. I would be mindful of disconnects, right? Even though that one was small, it was still present, and that is something that I know a lot of judges do care about. So making sure that you're not so focused on the structure that you kind of disregard where your follower's hand is. That's going to be something that is a little bit of a no. I went back too far. 1 second. And then I like that as you did this anchor, you kind of set the hand down slightly. I could only see this in the mirror, right? But that down is going to do a nice reconnect for you right there. I love that. So more things like that also gets you in a nice body position. You can see you're in a little bit of a releve. You have a little bit of a side body tilt, but it looks nice. You look turned out. And then make sure you don't take those recovery steps right after too fast. They just looked a little bit rushed for me. So going back, nice little releve. Good job still hitting the phrase. What I would say is I wouldn't use that particular ending very often, because from a follower's perspective, it feels really tight because your hand is kind of wrapped all the way around their body on their right side. So we're going to feel kind of trapped, right? Both the sides of our body are really closed into yours. And so your followers are going to feel like I cannot escape, right? So there's nothing wrong with this one, but just know it's not most followers' favorite. Cool. I like that you did that little slide. I think it's because your socks are a little slippery. With the body roll, I would say for right now, probably ditch them, because you're you'll start with one part of the body, and then it goes to a different part of the body that's not kind of the next piece it should be. So that can look just a little messy. Like it was like your butt went, then your head went, and then kind of your chest, but not really. Right, so I would say take that one out of your dance vocabulary for right now. As you're doing these kind of touches, make sure you're not rotating your knee in. You see, I'm just going to go slowly here. That one didn't rotate in, but then this knee rotated as it tapped, that knee rotated as it tapped, and then it did it one more time, right? Unless you're doing it as like a really intentional, like almost like a twerk, I would keep that leg externally rotated and still do the tap, right? Or you could collect that foot next to your weighted foot and do a tap that way. So it doesn't need to be a super big side lunge all the time. Oh, going back to real time. And then making sure that when you lead a turn, here you stopped moving yourself for the most part, right? And you're focusing on turning your follower, and there's nothing wrong with that. But still be mindful of what your body position is as you're doing that. It looks like you kind of shut down your movement to lead their movement. Right, and then you kind of caught up on the other side, right? So that doesn't mean don't regard the follower. You're still leading the follower, and you still want to make sure that you're checking into kind of where their body position is ending up, but still dance your body in those moments. This was the last minute phrase change. This was like oh shit, there's something here, I'll open up a window. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes followers are going to be a lot of the times, they're going to be really helpful and fill that for you. But that should have been like some kind of hustle whip to some kind of accelerated something, right? Something a little bit more planned out. I could see you started planning, it was just a little bit too late. You can even do, if you don't have anything and it's 7-8-1, I do a slingshot a lot. 1-2 land 3 of a slingshot, and that's a really classic position to get into, and it's pretty foolproof and really helpful if you have the one coming in 2 counts. I would be careful of turning yourself too much, primarily because that doesn't look like it's something you've super trained. When you turn, things that need to be showing up in your body, that foot needs to be pointed. You're bent into the standing leg, which is totally fine. Like, that's a great way to turn. I would prep off the follower a little bit more. And I would make sure right now you look like a happy dog, which is cute, but not very grounded or technically sound. You're staying stable on the foot, which is solid. Like, you're not falling over, but you would need to be a little bit more stacked over that leg, and you should be spotting, ideally, your partner when you're turning. So rather than your head just kind of staying set on your spine as you rotate, you should be spotting your partner as you come around the turn. When you do a hustle whip, rather than just aiming for the hand, rather than just getting the hand, oh wait, this isn't the right hustle whip, this is a later one, or earlier one. There you go. There's this one. Rather than aiming for the hand, aim for like your forearm to go underneath their forearm, because otherwise you catch them really short and they have to shorten their frame to pick up your hand, and any compromises your follower has to make to their frame, it's gonna make it a harder dance for you. So letting this arm catch onto underneath that part of the follower's forearm, it's gonna make it a smoother catch for both of you. Oh, back to real time. Oh, yeah, this one just looked like you were running. I'm not sure why. After you did the hustle whip, it just looked like you were running around him. Run, 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 run. Because I think you heard, oh, fairy shade coming. Oh no, run, run, run. Rather than we'll figure out what happened. Right. I like the dip. He fixed your timing a little bit for you because that end point in that kind of rib catch was a little bit too early. So you caught on the rib cage, and that should have been 7, 8 to lead on a downbeat, right? Whether you're leading a downbeat into a triple or you're leading a downbeat into a 1, doesn't matter, but that needed to stay a little longer there. And make sure that you're still finding straight legs sometimes. I know you're kind of in a lower position to catch a little lower, but then through the rest of this pattern, you stayed really, really low, and you kind of sent your booty back, right? So then you finally collected and went into an extension. So just something to be mindful of there. It does show even more because of the shorts, but that is something that's going to show up even if you're in pants. That was a nice moment. That was led a little bit too late. So you got into that open position, right? Ideally, you're going to want to take your hand across the slot to actually open your follower up. And it looked like for the most part, oh, sorry, this is freaking out. All right, we got it. So from here, you kept your left hand on the left track, right? Versus drawing it through. And you start to do something with it, but it's not quite enough, and it's not actually super well received. You see that in his wrist. So he doesn't actually open up his body quite enough. And he thought it was a lead into a whip, right? So that's where, that didn't work. If you start to get a follower who comes forward, I would immediately bail on the step tap plan and go into, oh great, we'll do a whip. I like that. You reached a little bit far there, like you kind of got a little out of your own frame. Right here as you came around, I like this moment. It was a good expansion in your body. But because you stayed kind of static, they went away from you and then you were reaching, right? So that's where you got to travel. You got to move with them so that way you don't put yourself in this particular aesthetic. That was fun. I like that build there. That pattern was a solid one. At the end of that, you just looked like you were standing. You looked super pedestrian, so that's where I would counter more to the left. Make sure that you're offering counter not just connectionally because you're retracting your arm, but also positionally. Get your weight over that left foot. Take your left hip a little further away. So that was, I think you were turning it into a musical moment. I would have kept that in the timing of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then accelerated it up, because when you let it, it actually ended up being off time. If it's, oh, sorry, did not go back far enough. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you led into compression on 5, right? Versus 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you led into it on 4 and then you found it on 5. So let 4 finish and then move them in rather than kind of forgetting about 4. Right? 2 count blocks is a big part of this dance. So if you're doing halftime, do it in 2 count blocks. If you're doing double time, do it in 2 count blocks. And don't forget, in a pattern like this, you're still, even though like you're moving around the follower, they're still also moving a little bit, right? So here, they're finding side, you're sending them to find forward, you're countering forwards, and then they're moving to the other side, and then probably back. But I would say is you're moving a lot here, so you can probably tone down how much, like, it looks a little frantic, right? Because you're going all the way around, taking big steps, staying bent in your knees, coming around the corner, right? It just looks a little like, I gotta go, right? Versus using the counter that you're getting to help your body get where it needs to go. I like that you did something different. I like that you didn't stay with that hand on the back run around one. Something that's going to be homework for you by yourself is just cleaning up these feet, right? So as you do this, like, I think it was just it should just be hitch and step and hitch and step, and your feet are doing something that's a lot more than that. So that's where having clarity and very clear articulation is going to be really valuable. This is another moment where don't just pick up the hand in the hustle whip, trace the arm from the forearm to the hand, and then when you're coming out of it, backing up just a little bit. And we'll go slow. Also, what's interesting is, like, at this speed, I would say, like, do this for yourself too. Watch your videos at like a quarter speed, and you'll see your feet strike before his feet strike, right? And ideally, we want that foot strike to be pretty close. Yours are going to strike a little earlier as the leader, but ideally it's not this far off. But it's still going through that hustle whip. This is where we want to make sure that your body is active. Right now it's just kind of passive. You're leading, but you're not really doing anything in your own body. So I would commit to a side, make sure it's really clear where your weight is, find a line, and then if you're bending into this knee, find an extension through the right leg in almost like a lunge position versus letting yourself be a little bit more like passive positionally. Cool. And back to regular time. And here we are again. So again, we don't like that one. Do it once, that's all you get per dance. With this one, make sure you prep a little bit more clearly. I would even prep the one. So prep 1, 2, and then make sure that you almost like J this down the center of the slot so that way they know they're not coming towards you. I would also dissipate linear energy. Once you lead one, going through this super slowly, once you lead one, dissipate 2. Because you see he's past connection at that point, because he was given a little bit more drive from you. So make sure you send and then scoop versus send and then go, right? We want this one. My terrible drawings. Oh, back to regular time. Nice, good ending.